You're listening to the Mangroves to Mountains podcast, where we talk all things outdoors, hunting, fishing, paddling, camping, adventure travel, and more. Thanks for listening. Hey, Paul, how are you?
I'm well. How you doing, Jim?
Pretty good. Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, the Mangroves to Mountains podcast. So,
I love it.
You're our first official guest. So we had Mary Lucy on. We did kind of a co-host thing in Greece, but you're my first interview / official interview. So, and you were the first person I thought of. So, for this.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
So, you want to just quickly, or not so quickly, introduce yourself? Just tell me what you do for a living and what your interests are.
Sure, certainly. So, I think might be important to know is that I was born and raised in South Florida. And, that provides context for a lot of the things we'll be talking about, the changes I've observed over time. And I would say that I was introduced to the outdoors, or what I would think of as the wilderness, early on by my parents. And I've been to most of the state and national parks in Florida, all the way throughout Florida. And then also all over the United States. So I would say that, I'm always looking to be in wild places. That's what I put a lot of my time and energy into, getting into those places. And once I'm there, I know it's all worth it, no matter what I had to do in order to get there.
Trying to keep them wild too, right? I know that's important.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. So, that's something that we could touch on as well. One of my current projects.
Yes.
Restoring some globally imperiled pine rockland.
Yeah, talk about that a little bit.
Sure. So I came across a small parcel, about 4 acres of pine rockland that had somehow been missed by development. And I was able to acquire this property, and it was in fairly good shape. And in fact, it was designated by Miami-Dade County as a natural community area. And as a result, it has special restrictions placed upon it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's wonderful. There are a lot of people that don't like the fact that they can buy a piece of land and they're told what they can and cannot do. But it's also not, it wasn't sold at market price. So, that's something that people need to understand as well. There are some restrictions. So it's something that I thought my philosophy and the philosophy of the county actually was fairly parallel. And because this land was set aside, it had a little bit of damage done to it by some of the previous owners that didn't really follow the rules, or maybe they didn't know what they're meant to be doing. But either way, there was a little bit of damage as a result. There's some exotic invasive species that began to take over some of the areas, but the land is still considered to be of very high quality when it comes to native habitat.
And getting better, right? With the improvements you've done.
Absolutely. Yep. So I've been working on it for about 4 years. I've removed almost all the exotic invasives on the first acre. So I have 3 more acres.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, I'm now kind of working on it.
Let me know if you need help. Nick and I can come out and sweat a bit, put in some sweat equity. Yeah,
my goodness, I tell you. Mosquito repellent, et cetera, poison wood, on and on. But it's a labor of love. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and something I'm constantly doing. So I'm doing it.
And you're building on it now, or have built?
Yeah. So actually, So in kind of, in fact, that's where I am now. We've just finished a house, and the footprint of the house is I was very careful about where we were going to place the house. And we actually decided I worked with the architect and the other people. We went to the site. I didn't want to take down any of the native Dade County pine. So we selected an area that had been damaged already, had been basically rock plowed. And that's basically where we kind of set up the area for where the house was going to be. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to be, have as little impact as possible. But
I'm anxious to see it. I haven't seen the finished house yet. So when you're ready, I'll come up and check it out.
Yeah, it'd be great. Yeah, it's great. It's yeah, I think a lot of people, if I were to send photos of the house, they would be like, where are you? You looks like you're in North Carolina or Georgia, just because of all the pine trees. And mm-hmm. Even some of the contractors that have come by, they're like, how did you find this place? I couldn't even find this place with the address. So it's in a neat place. It's not, that far away. I wish it was a little bit deeper away, but still, I appreciate what I have. So
and you're near a very special place to you and to me, a certain national park. You want to mention?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's about 5 miles from Everglades National Park, a little bit further away from Biscayne National Park, and the Keys are just down the road. So it's situated in a really nice. The location is great. It's just a matter of getting going with my next boat, whatever that might be, and getting out on the water and starting to fish routinely.
Yeah, we'll talk about that for sure tonight. So you want to talk about your fishing background? Have you always fly fished? I know that's your thing now. Has that been your thing always? Did you start with conventional tackle?
Right. So I did start with conventional tackle. I started with a bait caster. And that's a challenge. But then compared to fly fishing, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And it was, I had some friends that invited me to go down to the Keys, and I met their father was actually a fly fisherman. And I just went out on the boat with him and his buddy, and we just anchored somewhere down a Big Pine Key, and they started fly fishing for tarpon. And just, it was the sound of the line going through as they were double hauling, the way the sound of the line as it would actually, as they would actually shoot their cast, and then of course catching some these are like baby 40 and 50 pound tarpon that they were catching, but it was introduced to me in person, and my first reaction to that was, what is going on? This is crazy. That's for trout fishing. And
So had you fly fished before that experience in the Keys? Like, had you trout fished anywhere or bass fished?
No.
Okay, that was the first. Okay.
Yeah, and that was in the late.
What an introduction! That's crazy.
Yeah, it was cool, and these are two guys that have been written about in books, and I think the community of fly, the fly fishing community would know who these guys are. They're old timer. I just happened to be on the boat with them. It was kind of cool. Great fish. So I didn't know they're as cool as other people actually knew they were.
Okay, guys, that's the end of part 1 of my interview with Paul Rehage. Part 2 will be coming out soon. Thanks for listening.